Today, we're going to be busting some myths on how discipline actually works because after doing a lot of research into this topic over the years, it is not what you think it is because we all love to blame our lack of progress on our lack of motivation. And I just need to be more disciplined. But here is the twist that people who look the most disciplined, they actually rely on discipline the least. Let's just let that sink in for a little bit because it took me a while. They're not forcing themselves every morning. They've made it just harder to fail. So let's kind of break it down how it works and we'll bust a few myths along the way. This is what modern psychology actually says about self-discipline and how to make it ridiculously easier. So myth number 1 is that discipline means having more willpower. That is just not true because research from both Stanford and Yale shows something very counterintuitive, that people who seem the most self-controlled, they're just really, really good at avoiding temptation altogether. They don't try to fight the cookie jar. They just keep it out of the house and they don't argue with their brain every single morning because they've already laid out the workout clothes. They already have their wardrobe of black, which apparently those tech founders do. That is the hack, making good habits and taking action frictionless and making bad ones really hard to do. So hide the apps that distract you, prep your workout space before bed, put your phone in another room when you work, or what I do to get myself out of bed before 7 a.m. is I have another phone whose alarm rings on the opposite side of my room. And then I just go ahead, have to get out of bed in order to turn off the alarm. So that forces me to actually get out of bed and get started with my day. As James Clear famously said, the author of Atomic Habits, is that the secret to self-control is making it unnecessary. Myth number 2 is that motivation comes first and then discipline follows. That is not true, and it is absolutely the other way around, is that you don't need to wait to feel motivated to start. You start and then your brain rewards you with motivation. It's like, good job, you did it, you got started, well done. And neuroscientists, they call this the action motivation loop. So each time you start, even when you don't feel like it, your brain releases dopamine, not because of the reward, but because of the progress. And that is the hack, is if you can't get yourself to start, just commit to 2 minutes. Just say, I'll just write this essay, I'll just start the Word file. I'll just spend 2 minutes on thinking about it. And you write for 2 minutes, and you stretch it out for another 2 minutes, and you've written a whole page. And once you start, the chemistry, it just kicks in, and that is how to hack your brain, and the momentum just does the rest. You really don't need to feel good to get going, but you do need to get going to feel good. And myth number 3, it's all about managing time, but really it is not. It is about managing your energy. Do you ever notice how your productivity tanks around 3 p.m? That is not laziness, that is literally biology. Your brain runs on 90 to 120 minute energy cycles. I think they're called ultradian rhythms. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. If you really try to push past those limits, you're actually working against your body, not with it. So here is a very scientific workaround, is to do your hardest, most creative work during your natural energy peaks. So for me, that is the morning. That is around 7 o'clock to 12 o'clock. And take short breaks every 90 minutes to 120 minutes. And this allows you to tap into your flow state and then to batch those kind of shallow tasks like emails and admin during low energy times. And for me, this is in the afternoon around 3 to 5 p.m. where I just don't want to do anything that takes brain power and it's more monotonous work that I can maybe use ChatGPT to help on. And when you match your work with your rhythm, discipline just starts to feel a lot more effortless. Here's one thing to take home. The most productive people, they don't work longer, but they work in rhythm, and that boosts their efficiency overall. Myth number 4 is we all somehow think that we need massive goals to stay disciplined, but actually small wins, they build stronger discipline in the long run. There is this Harvard study that found that even tiny progress creates a progress loop, and that is dopamine hits after another that keeps you coming back. It gets you addicted to getting more done, which sounds a little bit toxic, but it works if you want to be a productive human being, which I know toxic productivity is a thing. But that's why the idea of reading 1 page a day, it works better than reading 52 books this year, because when you say, I'm just going to read 1 page a day, chances are you're probably going to read 2, 3, and maybe finish the chapter. But if you want to read 52 books this year, it's just not realistic, and you might as well just give up. You're training your brain to expect wins and not dread this idea of having a mountain of work kind of looming ahead of you. So what we should do instead is try to shrink the goal until it feels like kind of almost ridiculously easy to reward that consistency and not intensity, just track those streaks. And that is why like Snapchat streaks and Duolingo streaks, they really get you hooked. I'm currently on like a 800 something day streak on Duolingo learning Cantonese. I don't know how much my Cantonese is improving, but I know 100% it is better than if I didn't do it. So seeing progress, that is the real reward, and it is better than doing nothing, which you probably won't do if you have those massive, massive goals that's unachievable. And there's another quote by James Clear that we need to throw in here is that you don't rise to the level of your goals, but you fall to the level of your systems. So build those systems that just makes your life easier. Okay, myth number 5 is that discipline is something that you have to go at alone. And this is not something that we like kind of consciously think about, but we are always doing things ourselves. We're not sharing our goals with other people for the fear that we're going to fail and we're going to disappoint them and all of this stuff. But honestly, accountability is one of the easiest ways to keep you going. Last year, I joined Amy Porterfield's course. It's called Digital Course Academy because I want to finally build my own course and program on freelancing, how to get to your first 10K, because a lot of friends who were in uni with me, they kind of went into the 9 to 5, but I went kind of straight into freelancing, and now I've got a pretty steady rhythm of making 10K at least a month, having quite a stable and healthy profit margin. They've been asking me like, I really want to quit my job, how do I get into freelancing, all this stuff. So I just kind of packaged my whole entire business system into a course and program. But the thing is, building a course takes so much effort, and it is a huge, huge undertaking. That is where I met Melissa, who is now a dear friend, and she's my accountability buddy. We actually started with a group of 4, and then the other 2 kind of dropped off along the way, but Melissa and I literally have been meeting up once a week, every single Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. for me, for a whole entire year. And fast forward to a year later, I've got my course program set up, I'm taking in students, we're seeing results, and we still continue to meet up every single Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. And just this one simple habit, it made all the difference, because honestly, I stopped watching the course content quite a while ago, but it's because I'm checking in with this human being and we're both keeping each other accountable. We're like, okay, next week I'm going to do this, I'm going to show you. All right, and that makes all the difference. You stop kind of negotiating with yourself. Someone is waiting for you, someone is vouching for you, someone is lighting a fire underneath your butt. And that is exactly why I created the 10K Masterclass that is upcoming. It's a live session for freelancers and solopreneurs who crave that sense of momentum and belonging and feeling like, you know, there's a tribe of people who's doing it together, because so many times we're just really going at it alone, and it can be quite like defeating, loneliness, and just easy to give up. So I'm going to pull back the curtains and show you exactly how I built my business, and it's going to be really fun. So scan the QR code on the left if you want to join us. I'd love to see you there, because at the end of the day, discipline gets so much easier when you're not doing it alone and you have people cheering you on or sharing with you the roadmap that got them there. Accountability, it really is the glue that ties commitment to results. And the big aha moment for me really lied in the fact that understanding self-discipline isn't about pushing harder. It's about removing all the friction, the barriers, and working with your biology, working with what works for you, and surrounding yourself with people who keep you accountable and really make it easier for you to continue. And the real failure, I guess, is giving up. So as long as you don't give up, as long as you take many steps day after day, that is progress. And of course, we all know that quote that we overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in a decade. And that is so, so true. So if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you're going to love this one on the left right here. If you prefer listening on the go, we also have a podcast called the Brand Creator Podcast. Thank you so, so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.